Welcome to Nice Ashes. I'm Nate.
And I'm Mike. What are we smoking today, Nate?
We are smoking a Rocky Patel Sun Grown. And I hope it's not like the Undercrown.
Yes.
It must not be, because it actually has the Rocky Patel logo on it. Prominently featured.
This one tasted a little earthy when I wetted the cap.
Okay, and I'm about to do that now.
It's a little lighter and tangy.
Yeah, I feel like the start is less acidic than the other one.
Mm-hmm. We'll see how she goes. That third puff was definitely darker. But
yeah,
are you? Do you burn the foot before you light it up?
Yep.
So do I. I don't know if there's a wrong way to light a cigar. I'm sure that somebody will tell you that there is.
Yeah, I'm sure we could think of several wrong ways to light a guitar. Or, light a cigar. If it's lit, it's lit. Basically,
pretty much.
Probably don't want to use like a kerosene lamp or something to light it. But
yeah, I mean,
if it's lit, it's lit.
It's lit. They were smoking cigars 200 years ago. So what were they lighting them then?
Yeah,
that's
whatever we found nearby.
I'm guessing so. Yeah. Flint and steel. I've never successfully lit a fire with a flint and steel, I don't think.
Yeah, it's you need really good tinder. Like if you get some dryer vent stuff, dryer vent lint, that'll go. The flint and steel is not as difficult as, say, the stick with the bow,
Oh, bow drill? See, I have started a fire with a bow drill several times.
Okay, yeah. So, there's to each their own. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I've started all sorts of different fires, and gotta tell you, I prefer the lighter fluid and match, You still kind of got to build it the right way, the right composition, so that it lights and catches and burns throughout the night. But I don't know where people get all kind of like high and mighty about, well, I started it with just one match and no lighter fluid and no this or that. It's like, well, cool. You can do it, but it's a weird sense of pride. I mean, it's important to know how to start them, I think. But if you're out camping or just out in your backyard and lighting a fire, who cares? It's not a big deal.
Right. Like a really quick survival tip for all of our listeners. Put a Bic in your pocket. Even if it gets wet, you can blow the top off and the flint will light. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Another quick survival tip for all our listeners, don't get lost, okay?
Yep. Yeah. Who goes into the woods without a fucking lighter? I'm just saying.
Yeah. A lighter, or at the very least some waterproof matches or something, but definitely a lighter is the way to go.
Oh.
I mean, if you're going out in the woods with your cigars and your cigar lighter and stuff, you're fine.
Mm-hmm. I used to do river fishing, and I would always carry a Bic, and I would tape the top off with packing tape, and then wrap the handle with a little bit of duct tape. And that way, if I had to light a fire for some reason, if I broke my leg, I could light a fire, and at least stay warm while they tried to find my body. Right?
Yes. Yep.
So never had to use it, fortunately.
That reminds me, and I don't know if we've talked about this. Maybe we have. It's kind of an in-joke with one of my other friends and me and myself. That Into the Wild guy that went in to live in Alaska.
Yep.
And then, his last journal entry is like, I found some delicious blueberries. And then they were poisonous. And so, that's what killed him. Not that he was having a high old time of it to begin with, but, this kind of the joke is like, I found some delicious blueberries. Make sure you're not eating the poisonous stuff. That seems like a bare minimum, some of these stuff out there is not designed to be consumed by humans,
That was a real weird story because he shot a moose and then he didn't have a proper method to preserve any of the meat. It's real weird aspects of it.
He was going out there to make an anti-capitalist point or something, and so it was more about the point he was making than actually trying to survive in the wilderness.
Right.
And there's a lot more hospitable wildernesses to survive in than fucking Alaska. I'm going to tell you that right now. Iowa.
Well, he was an early age tech bro kind of guy from what I remember.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, when I came out of college, I was a school teacher and I was ignorant of many of the things in the world. And when I went into construction, those guys knew right away that I was green as shit.
Yeah.
They would even make comments about it once I got my journeyman's license, 5-6 years later or whatever it was. They were like, you have come a long way in your understanding of this world, know.
And I mean, I don't disagree with his sentiments necessarily, but it's kind of that naivety,
Mm-hmm.
That will kill you if you don't do your base research before eating delicious blueberries off of the ground. So
right. Yeah. When I was in college, I met a guy who was he had graduated and he was going to go to Africa and teach.
Okay.
And I was like concerned for his safety. He's like, oh, you're just blah, blah, blah. You're overblowing the dangers. And then while he was there, they had like a genocide in the country he was in, and they were killing white farmers. It was like Zimbabwe or something like that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was like the farms, they were ransacking farms and killing everybody. And it's like, okay, probably not the best idea to be the white college educated person going there to teach like the kids English or whatever at this moment in time.
Well, and that's the thing is, we live in the Twin Cities of Minnesota here, and it's interesting because I was talking to my dad about this. He was here for Christmas, and how our neighborhood is really mostly nice. I mean, we've got a couple of rentals, but otherwise it's all kind of like younger families or older people, people who take care of their houses, they own their houses, and it's a nice area and you feel safe here and stuff. But you can go a couple blocks across the highway or wherever, and then you're in some of like the sketchiest parts of the Twin Cities. And, but that's true of almost anywhere. But it's more prevalent or more apparent in big cities where you can travel a couple blocks and then you're in a different reality, right? A different world almost.
Right. Yep.
And it could go both ways. Like you could travel a couple blocks a different way. You could be in like all the homes are multi-million-dollar homes, So that's,
that happens.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, I mean, I spent a month in London when I was in college for a film internship, and that's a big international city, and I had never lived in a big city, but I went there alone and rented a room from a Dutch couple and had to get myself to my internship on the tube and back and, survive and do all that over there. But there's like an awareness, right? You have to be aware of areas or things, and generally speaking, like if your gut has a bad feeling, I've got a bad feeling about this, then there's no harm in just listening to it, especially if you're somewhere you're not familiar with, I don't know that
right.
works going to, like where they're doing genocide in Africa and stuff. I mean, maybe you just say, maybe I won't go there, but
right.
There's a lot of situations you can get out of or prevent yourself from getting involved with by just refusing to get involved with them or staying out of those areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's where I live in northern Minnesota. There's a big drug culture, like hard drug culture. But if you're not seeking that out, then you're largely not affected by it, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they're violent, organized criminal organizations that are affecting the general public or anything.
Yeah, I mean, they're addicts. There's been stories of those people, and even my wife's parents had some meth enthusiasts, let's say, since we're being all positive with everything, and that kind of like parked at the end of their driveway and stuff, and they had to call some law enforcement, but they were gone by then. But it's like if like some addicts come and park in your driveway, you don't have to go out there and confront them. You can call somebody to take care of them. You know what I mean? Like, don't put yourself in dangerous situations if you're not prepared to deal with dangerous situations, kind of thing,
Right.
And you don't have to, you don't have to. You've got people that are trained in these situations, and you can call them and they will come and help you. Sometimes. Yep. Not necessarily all the time, but.
Be cautious. Yeah. Where I live.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to the Bill Burr thing is like, yeah, just because you want to tell a cry bully to go fuck themselves, it's not always the best course of action because there's going to be repercussions from that.
It feels good for a moment and then it feels really bad for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the where I live, like the really super poor people live right next to the super rich people. And it leads to like not having super ghettos, where you drive around and you see these massive mansions on these lakes that are abandoned for almost the entire year. And then next to them are like the tar paper shacks of the people that are their servants,
Yeah.
But they're not involved in anything criminal. They're just trying to survive in an area where there's not a lot of economic opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah, they're not
just
criminal masterminds or something.
Lives in a different, like, not everybody who lives in a rundown shanty is a drug addict. You know what I mean? There's like some weird stigma in our culture about if they're not well off, then they're like an alcoholic or a drug addict, and a lot of this hostile architecture, and it's like, look, just because they don't have a home doesn't mean that they're like have an addiction problem or a substance abuse issue. You know, I mean, some of them do, of course, but it's not
Wow. But
it's not causation or whatever correlation.
Specifically for homeless people in inner cities, almost all of them have addiction issues, because the people who don't have addiction issues, who are poor, who, let's say, lose their job, they leave the expensive area and move to a less expensive area and try to find a job there, you know?
Yeah. I'm just saying it's not always 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and a lot of these people, we've talked about it, you know, a lot of these people would benefit from universal health care, or if we had a better system for mental health in our country, you know, which was interesting to me when you said that Bill Burr's a big advocate of therapy and like mental health, at least for anger issues.
Right.
But, you know, there's something to be said for having somebody in your life who will point out your flaws. And sometimes it takes like a Bill Burr-esque interaction, right? Where somebody says, you got fucking anger issues or something, and it upsets you. And that kind of goes back to our movies, you know, like if it doesn't shock you, you won't take action to correct it. And I'm not saying external viewpoints are always right, but I know that I was very angry for a long time, like throughout college and when you and I first met. And I really spent time like working on that and finding nonfiction books of how to deal with anger issues. You know, and I'm still not perfect by any stretch, and I get angry, but, you know, I feel like I'm better than I was, and it took people pointing it out to me, like, well, you're angry all the time, and my big thing was my humor was kind of more bringing people down humor, and less, like, I don't want to say my humor's uplifting because I'm very dry and sarcastic, but I try not to make fun of people, like, directly, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Anymore. And I want it to be kind of like humor that all can enjoy, even though it is sarcastic. But that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be like asshole-ish, I hope. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not trying to ramble and take away from our topic of our season 2 finale.
Yes.
I almost can't believe we're here at the season 2 finale.
It's been a ride. Well, we started on March 1st, so it's been most of the year.
Yeah. And we're going to take a couple months off probably again. And then we'll be back, I don't know, maybe February, maybe March. I don't know. It's kind of up to us.
Up to us and the weather.
Yeah.
The weather
doesn't matter anymore. Well, yeah, beautiful weather is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to buckle down and sit in front of a computer with a cigar and booze as opposed to cigar and booze and out in the world. So.
Right. I'm about an inch in, and I like this cigar.
I like this one too. This one's far better than the other one. The other one was good, but I do like this Sun Grown better than that vintage Cameroon.
I liked the vintage Cameroon, but it was lighter. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. It's not a bad
thing. It did have that kind of acidy start, which is fine. We've had plenty that have turned out to be phenomenal cigars, but I really like this one. It's a lot earthier.
Mm-hmm. Earthier, a little bit darker. Not dark, but...
No, it's not overly dark, but it's a good mix. It's a good earthy dark without being too dark.
It's smooth, but it does have a little bit of a bite. It's nice. I have been impressed with all the Rocky Patel cigars that we've smoked.
That's that idiocracy speak. My ex-wife was a Rocky Petard.
Yeah. She's pilot now. Yeah, I cannot sing the praises of Idiocracy enough. Not that it's going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
Because like I say, my Sarah made, she watched it once, and then I had to watch it in the basement.
Yeah.
Which we are fortunate enough to have a basement with a TV and all that. So
yeah. I'm pretty fortunate in my life because I know Mike for one. But I got my bachelor's in film, and so I've seen some very interesting films. Lamageddon, Mike was there for that, and that was awesome. But I've been really lucky because my Sarah pretty much never says no to watching any kind of the weird movies that I want to watch, whether it's some foreign thing or, subtitles or Idiocracy.
My Sarah will say yes the first time, right? The first time. But if it's like a TV show, she'll watch a couple episodes, and if she doesn't get into it, then it's like, no. She wants to watch Charmed and Bewitched and Gilmore Girls and things like that. Yeah. And I want to watch... I tend to go for more serious stuff than that, even though we are going to watch Winona Earp, which is not serious at all. But
yeah,
It's fun.
We kind of do. We like to do TV series. So like we did Friends, and then we did because neither of us had ever really watched Seinfeld, and it's this big cultural show, right? You know, for a certain age group, of course. So we watched through all of Seinfeld, and it was great. And we watched Boardwalk Empire because Sarah's brother really liked that show, and it was good till the last season because they knew they were getting canceled, so they had to do some time jumps. But we're watching through The Sopranos right now.
Okay.
And it's really good. I really like it. But for the next show, because it's such a serious show, but you know, like it's mafia stuff. So there's not a lot of, I would say, but like there's, you know, killing and heavy kind of like political maneuvering and stuff like that. So, but I'm hoping that after this that we'll watch through Scrubs, because I remember watching episodes of Scrubs in college, but I never really watched it religiously. But I remember enjoying it, and that's another show that's kind of generally seen as a good show, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's a little more comedic than it is like heavy serious. So it's kind of like with my reading style. Like I like to read fiction and I like to read nonfiction. But if I read too many nonfiction books in a row, I'm kind of like, I need something fiction to like cleanse the palate or, you know, like get some enjoyment. Not that I don't enjoy the nonfiction. I mean, you probably know, Mike, right?
Well, I like to read a lot of nonfiction, but I have to spread in the fiction because, you know, you can only take so many historical accounts and politics books and science books before you start to get real dark. You know, it's like hopelessness. You start to look into the void and and all that Nietzschean philosophy. You know, like I can only handle so much. I can only handle so much darkness, right? It's
but I know I mentioned this on the show. I went on a huge deep dive into the Lewis and Clark expedition, and I was reading like all these top books about the Lewis and Clark expedition. And then I was kind of like, you know what? I need to read something else. You know, like I that's one of my favorite historical periods. We talked about that on one of the episodes. I love that whole era and the whole expedition and everything. But even with something that I enjoy, I was like, man, I need to change it up a little bit. I need to have something a little different. So I went back to, I think I did Dune after that. I did the Dune stuff. And then I was like, if I don't hear another word about spice for a few books, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, you could like, and they're great books. So they're great series and they're great everything. But, you know, you can get kind of like too into it. And it's like, man, I need something a little bit different now. So
yeah, you can delve too deep, right? It's like
Icarus flying too close to the sun.
Yeah, that's girl bossing too close to the sun, Nate. Now that's the new the new lingo.
With the wax tampons or what?
Yeah, I didn't say that. You did, for the record.
And I'll fucking own it because it's our season 2 finale.
What? So, we're yammering, as you can obviously hear, but we're going to do a recap of the cigars that we smoked.
A year in review.
And I'm looking at our list here.
Yeah.
We started off with 3 5 Vegas cigars.
Yep.
Which was so far in the past. And I seem to remember that.
I don't remember any of these.
The 5 Vegas Classic and the Series A were pretty similar, and they were so-so. They weren't offensive, but they were, they weren't great.
Yeah. Do you want to go through? I mean, if you want to go through all of them that we smoked in order, we can do that.
That's what I was planning on doing.
Oh, okay. I thought it'd be fun.
What's your plan?
I didn't really have a plan.
No, well, there we go.
Okay, well, I guess I thought like initially, if you and I said what was like the favorite cigar of this year, and then your top 3 episodes, like topic-wise, cigars aside. And then we can go through kind of the cigars as we smoke them.
Oh, sure. It's fine with me.
Let's hit the stuff that we liked off the bat, and then we'll go through the cigars as we smoked them and go from there. Or we could go through all the cigars and just do that too. Like, that's fine.
That's up to you. It's going to be easier for me to keep track if we go in order, but
I just thought like, because I was thinking about this because we knew we were going to do like a recap episode.
Yes.
So I wanted to think about my 3 favorite episodes, and I think my 3 favorite episodes were our episode about the Barbie movie with the voice of the matriarchy.
Yep. I thought that was a good gimmick.
Because we tried something different and it was fun. I, of course, like the Ahsoka episode with our guest Simha.
Yes.
And then my other favorite episode actually was when we'd smoked 2 different cigars, the tequila cigars, the Undercrown Shade and the other atrocity, the Cherry Bomb.
Yep.
Or the Blood Red Moon, right?
Yeah, the Blood Red Moon. Yep.
And I like that because we smoked different cigars, but we had previously smoked them straight with no tequila. Those are my 3 favorite episodes, I guess, let's say.
Okay, that's interesting. I would say that the Simha episodes are great, especially the Ahsoka, where he joined us in the dark side. And
yes, use your hate.
I also enjoyed the Barbie episode, and I like the Amish episode. I really enjoyed doing that.
Oh, I like that one too. That was very informative. And I also like the Manson episode.
Wasn't the Manson last year?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
It's hard.
You have to let us know, dear listeners.
Yes. And remember, if you do let us know, we can send you a special stamp for $5. And if you put your zip code in brackets.
Yes, with your name in all capital letters.
Yes. Then we'll know it's a states' right issue and not a racist issue.
The states' rights episode I thought was pretty entertaining too. Your reaction to the lady, the judge, whatever her name was.
Yes. Yeah, the sovereign citizen episode.
Yeah, the sovereign citizen episode. Yeah. I thought you were hilarious. You just turned like halfway through, you were like, I hate these people. Might have been assisted chemically, but
you never know. You never know.
Yeah. But she's an IRS plant. I'm like, that's a good idea. I didn't even think of that. I did the research for it, and I'm like, I didn't even consider that. But it makes sense.
All right, let's keep going through the cigars. I thought of one that was a standout surprise hit of the season, I think.
Okay. I think I know. Is it the Joya Black?
Yes.
Yes. I was pleasantly surprised with the Joya Black.
Yes. I feel like that was kind of like the surprise sleeper hit of the season.
Yeah, I went in with no expectations.
Yeah.
So it definitely showed up. I think that the Undercrown Shade, I think that's the one that you really didn't like. That was a major disappointment. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah. Okay, so we did the episode 1 was the 5 Vegas Classic, and then we did the Series A and then the Cask Strength.
Yes, and of those 3, the Cask Strength was easily the best.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's on par with like a CAO or a Rocky Patel or a Liguria Cubana, but it was of that run, it was the best. Then we had the Christoph Connecticut, which I think we both liked.
Yep, I think we both liked that one. Then we did the CAO countries for a bit.
Yep, and I liked all of those. None of them they're good enough for me to want to smoke the rest of them.
Bad. I think we had a favorite, but I don't remember which one it was now.
No, but they're all really good. They're close.
Yeah, they're all really good.
Yep. The Macro Nudo Inspirato Black was good.
Yep.
Both the Inspirato Red and Black are very good cigars. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Then we had the CAO Black, which was good.
Yep.
Not super great, but good. Very good.
Yeah.
And then we had the Muwat, which I think we liked a lot. It reminded me of a Shrew. It was the one that was like a Shrew, but a bigger cigar.
Yeah.
So then we had the Romeo Julieta 1875, which I don't remember.
I don't remember it either, but I feel like
I remember.
Good. Romeo Julieta is generally good. You know, I mean, kind of like most of the CAO stuff is going to be good. Rocky Patel stuff's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the Gurkhas, and that's the next 2 we did, the Beauty and the Beast. The Gurkhas are
disappointing.
Drastically hit or miss. And I think we didn't like the Beauty, but we liked the Beast, I believe.
We didn't like the Beauty, and we thought the Beast was better, but it wasn't great. Because the Centurion, I believe, is the one that we thought was the best.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, because we smoked the Titan, we smoked the Crest, we smoked the Centurion, the Vintage 2000, the Beauty and the Beast. And the Centurion was the one that was a torpedo. And I remember that one being clearly the best.
Yeah.
Then we smoked that LFD Double Ligero, which was great.
Yep, and that was with Simha. Yep. The MX2 by CAO.
Yep, and that's one of my early cigars that I thought was one of my favorites at the time. You know, when I first started smoking cigars.
Yes.
It's a staple. You know, it's hard to go wrong. Then we had the Liguria Cubana Spanish Press, the Series N, and the Classic Maduro, all of which were great. I think the Spanish Press was the best out of those for me.
Yeah, I liked the Series N. That's a good one. Well, it's got a good shelf appeal, like the Series.
Oh, yeah.
But the Series R I think, for La Gloria Cubana.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong. We smoked that first season.
Yeah. I know. But yeah, I think La Gloria Cubana is very difficult to go wrong with. I don't think I've smoked a bad cigar from them.
I have not. Yeah. Then we had the Undercrown Maduro and Shade, which the Shade was notoriously horrific.
Yes.
To the point where we compared it to the
Cult Blood Red Moon.
The Cult Blood Red Moon cigar, which is probably the worst cigar I've ever had in my entire life.
And you smoked backwoods.
And I've smoked backwoods and Swisher Sweets, and I would smoke a Swisher over that Cult Blood Red Moon cigar. And the pipe tobacco is one of my favorites.
Oh man, the pipe tobacco is so good. So it's such a shock because Cult Blood Red Moon pipe tobacco is fantastic.
Yeah, it flies off the shelf.
Yeah, and it's the right amount of restraint and flavor and everything, and the cigar is the worst possible anything ever.
Yeah,
not anything ever, but in the terms of smoking things, like
it is vile. Absolutely vile. Yeah, don't never buy a Cult Blood Red Moon cigar.
Don't do it.
But the Undercrown Maduro I thought was good. We were a little snake bit by the Shade, so I don't know.
Maduro I think was like fine-ish.
Yeah. Like I say, it's hard to be objective about it because we didn't like the Shade.
Yeah, well, and it was so weird because like the Shade, Undercrown Shade had like a 91 rating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what? How could that possibly be?
Well, it just goes to show you that, I'm not saying that they paid for that review, but tastes are different.
Tastes are different. I know with the New York Times bestseller list for books, that's easily manipulated by the bookstores will order cases and cases and cases of this book. If they're so inclined, they'll never ship. They'll never show up to the store, and nobody will ever buy them. But because they were ordered, it's a #1 New York Times bestseller. So you can manipulate these different lists and statistics and things. So,
right.
I'm not saying that's what they did. I'm just saying that it's documented in other industries where it can be.
Yes. And then we had the H. Upmann cigars, which were both good, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, we also did like the Banker.
Yep. That was the Banker. It was an H. Upmann.
Did we like the Banker better than the Reserve or the Cameroon?
I think that we liked the Banker the best out of the cigars that we had.
Was the best, yeah.
But
we did a couple of Olivas, First Harvest, 2009 and 2011.
Yep. And they were both good.
Yeah, they're both good. I don't remember which one we liked better. We'd have to go back and listen.
No, I don't remember. It's hard to go wrong. Oliva is another one where it's like, they're going to be good, right? Like a nub is going to be good. Yeah. The K&F, I like the K&Fs.
Yep, those are good.
Then we have the CEO Consigliere, which we enjoyed.
Yes, and I want to talk about this one a little bit because I didn't realize it at the time because this was right before we started watching The Sopranos, which we talked about at the top of the episode here.
Yes.
But CAO, Tony Soprano, the main character of The Sopranos, played by James Gandolfini, he smokes a bunch of cigars throughout the series. And he and the writers agreed that fictional character really enjoys CAO. And so CAO put out a special cigar for The Sopranos with, I don't know, it was like CAO Sopranos or something like that. Like it was something from the show, but then they didn't have the rights to actually call it like Sopranos. So they rebranded it as the CAO Consigliere. So the CAO Consigliere is their cigar they made specifically in response to the production people behind Sopranos saying that CAO is one of his favorite cigars.
Interesting. Yeah, I did know that. I'm not sure. You probably told me. I'm guessing that you told me.
It's
off
possible.
The show.
We do talk.
Yeah.
We do talk.
Outside of the show. By the way, the Joya Black is now on my screen here. And that was our secret sauce for the year. And I usually do not save cigar labels. I throw the label and the cellophane right in the ashtray and as I smoke at home. But I kept the Joya Black label.
Yep.
It's on my desk because I'm like, I need to order more of these.
Yeah. Did you ever look into them? Do
they have a bunch of different
cigars? Oh, okay.
They do. Yeah. They have different colors and
Well, maybe that'll be season 3.
Something like that.
Some more Hoyas.
Something like that. I don't know if we have any for season 3 because I bought all the cigars for season 3.
Oh, okay.
I think I want to get more
locked
Hoyas.
and loaded for season 3. So
we are.
Season 4 might be some more Hoyas.
Yes. Well, we could bump it up to season 3. You never know, right?
You never know. We can't tell you everything because this is the season 2 finale. We're doing a look back. We're not necessarily looking forward.
That's right. And then we have the Herrera Esteli by Drew Estate. I don't remember that.
I don't really
cigar.
either.
I'm guessing it was good.
Yeah, it was probably fine. I feel like most of these where it's like the whatever by Rocky Patel or by Drew Estate or by whatever, they're a little more hit or miss.
Yeah.
You know, like if it was a full on like Drew Estate whatever, then it's going to be in that tier of you're not really going to go wrong. It might not be to your exact flavor preferences and stuff, but it's not going to be a bad stick.
Yep.
And really, like the Undercrowns, they were by Drew Estate too, I think, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. So
yes, they were. We had to find that out because I know we were like,
yeah, because there was nothing on the label that said Drew Estate.
Yep.
So I feel, and that's what kind of led me to my current thinking of, if it's the actual company name on the label, it's probably good. Maybe except for Gurkhas, right? Because those are kind of hit or miss.
Those are hit and miss, yeah.
But everything else, like an Oliva, Rocky Patel, CAO, with some of the flavors as the exception.
Right.
You know, then they're probably bound to be pretty good.
Yeah, it might not fit your flavor profile, but it's going to be a high quality cigar all the same, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then we had the Rocky Patel Vintage 1990 Robusto, which was the Ahsoka episode.
Yep.
And I like the Rocky Patel Vintage series. So,
yes,
those are always solid. You can't go wrong.
Yep.
And then we have a couple of Olivas. They all are Oliva branded, and they were all good. The Cereal was good. The Master Blend was great.
Yeah, the Master Blends was really good. The Master Blends 3 is what we had.
Yep. And then we got some Rocky Patels, which I thought the Rare Corojo was great. The Super Ligero was great.
I thought the Rare Corojo was a punch.
Oh, it is a punch. You're right. Gosh, dang it. See, I'm looking right at it. That punch was good, too. Punch is another one where most of them are pretty good. They're not necessarily... Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a bad punch cigar. So
yeah, I don't know that brand is in the same like echelon as like Rocky Patel or Oliva, but I don't think I've had a bad punch. You know what I mean?
I've never had a bad punch. They're in pretty much every cigar shop in the country.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go wrong.
We were talking about this too, Mike, and I don't want to be leading on our listeners, but we were talking about doing some acid cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't smoked. I used to smoke those right out of college. I smoked some acids, like the acid blonde and stuff, and I remember liking them. But you know, now I've smoked so many more cigars, so it'd be interesting to go back and revisit them. Because usually I'm not reaching for like an acid.
No, they're ridiculously expensive for what they are.
Yeah,
which is a flavored cigar. And I've had a couple, and every single one, I almost feel like they're syrupy. Like the flavor is syrupy. Like it's so intense. Like their blonde is like sweet, like very sweet.
Yeah.
I had some blondes. I got some for Sarah, and she didn't like them because they were too sweet, which is insane, right?
Yeah. Well, and like, why would you do that when you have the CAO Moon Trance?
Oh, yeah. Right. The Moon Trance is like, that's in my opinion,
perfect flavored cigar.
Yeah. It's like the gold standard for flavored cigar. So obviously, if you're going to compare it to that, which you should.
Yes.
Right. You should.
If you haven't smoked a Moon Trance, like that's your New Year's resolution. Even if you don't like, and so I don't know. Mike, we started this podcast and I never really thought I would enjoy a flavored cigar because to me, it's kind of like going to a Starbucks or something and ordering one of those, like caramel latte blended, whatever the fucks, right?
Oh yeah. Milkshake.
Yeah. Milkshake with some caffeine added, but that's not what the Moon Trance is really. So it was really like an eye opener for me to know that there are flavored cigars out there that aren't overly sugary or overly fake tasting. You know what I mean? And I think that's the big thing is it can't be overpowering and it can't be overly fake, like artificial tasting.
Yep. And I would suggest with the CAO Moon Trance, because we've smoked more than one size, I would suggest the Robusto size, not
don't do
the larger torpedo.
No.
Yep. Yeah. The torpedo was fine. Like, it's not a bad cigar.
Fine, but it wasn't as good as the Robusto.
No, the Robusto is like that perfect. It's just the perfect size for that cigar for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I've tried the little cigarillos, the Camuntran cigarillo.
Okay. Yep.
Got too hot. It burned all the flavor off. I didn't think it was very good. But that's a personal opinion, not shared by all, I'm sure. But
yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on your smoke style. Some people like the cigarillos, and if you're used to smoking that, then it's probably just fine.
Right. Yeah. And then we finished her off with the Oliva Series G and the Oliva Series G Maduro, Cameroon, and
yep.
I liked both of them. I thought they were great.
Yeah, they were good.
That's
I like the
one
Olivas.
of those things.
They're good.
I do. Yeah. I think we have some KNFs in the box for next year, and I really like the KNF nub, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, yeah, I like the KNF nub as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's like dark, very dark. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Not something I'm going to smoke all day, every day, by any means, but...
No. Well, that's the interesting thing, too. You know, I mean, we've smoked, I think this one is, this is our 43rd episode for Season 2. So, Season 2, Episode 43. We're going to hit, and we have to do something fancy. We've got some fancy cigars we've been saving up. We got to do something fancy for our 100th episode, Mike.
Okay. We could definitely do that.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing with cigars, right? Is we talk all the time about smoking them and if we like them or don't like them. But we also try and talk about, you know, is this a lawn mowing cigar? Or is this a treat yourself cigar? Or is this a, you know, I mean, there's different circumstances. Just with the same with like whiskeys or bourbons or whatever, what have you. You know, if you're just trying to get a buzz on, you're going to pick a different liquor than if you're trying to like savor and enjoy the complexities and flavors and stuff. And if you're mowing the lawn, you're going to pick something different than if you're sitting around a fire conversing with friends. So,
right. This time of year, Sarah likes to drink apple cider with bourbon in it, which is a variation of the stone fence, right?
Yep.
And we had bourbon at the house, but none of it was something that I was willing to put in a stone fence, right? Like I'm not putting single cask or cask strength bourbon or what the hell do I have? Basil Hayden toast or, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like, we'll just get like 4 roses and put it in there. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is you pick different liquors for mixing versus drinking straight.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've done an okay job. I hope listeners, right? Back me up of telling people if this is what would you say, Mike? Would you say like casual cigar or pontificating cigar, or I don't know what the different categories might even be?
Well, yeah, a lot of it's like yard cigar. Is this a yard cigar? You know, is this a cigar that you want to have, like you want to sit down and actually smoke it and do nothing else? You know, like the Gurkhas are a great example of, in my opinion, largely yard cigars where if you're out and it's like 4th of July and you're in the sun and maybe you're drinking a light beer and it's like rah, rah America, then a Gurkha Beast is a great option. It's not offensive. It's you can largely forget about it and you still have a nice cigar.
Yes.
But it's not something I'm going to sit at home and like read a book and drink, sip on a little glass of whiskey and like savor the cigar and have the experience, you know?
Yeah, and I think what I've liked is the kind of the criteria that we have unofficially. I don't know that we ever talked about this, Mike, is the difference between a yard cigar and a non-yard cigar, at least unofficially from what I've gathered from our conversations, is a yard cigar you don't mind putting out and not coming back to. You know? And the other cigars are something you want to smoke completely or, you know, until your fingers burn, kind of.
Right.
Or very, very near to that point. So... And I think that's a good, kind of a good judge. Like, if I put this out and don't relight it, I don't feel bad. I don't feel guilty about not relighting it. Whereas some of the cigars we've smoked, it's like, nope, I got to smoke this whole thing. Like everything else is going to have to wait until I'm done with this. Yeah,
I'm going to be mildly upset if I stop.
Yes.
So, and we have a price limit for our cigars. I try to get them for under $5. I think we talked about that.
Yep.
To the people out there, that's the goal, the online price.
Well, we're trying to smoke like the every day or within the range of the, let's say, fully employed person who wants to smoke cigars.
Right. Yeah, we're talking
not the hedge fund manager or the tech bro guy.
I focus on cigars that if you go to a cigar shop, it's less than $15. Because if you spend $15 on a cigar, it's most likely going to be good.
Yeah.
If you spend 7 to 10, now you're getting into territory where you could get a bad cigar for sure.
Yes.
Depending on what it is. And largely we found that you can stick with certain brands and you're going to get good results, I guess. But I don't like the concept of brand loyalty either. So
yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily brand loyalty, because I feel like in the cigar realm, it's rewarding good product more so than, like, it's not being a Disney fan person, right? Like, anything Disney does is great. With the cigars, when we say if you're going to smoke an Oliva or a CAO, that's not the flavors, it's generally going to be a good stick. Doesn't mean it's going to hit your flavor preferences or your profile preferences or whatever, but it's going to be consistent, or it's going to be complex, or it's going to be whatever. You're going to enjoy it on some level. Even if you say, you know what, this cigar is not for me, but I can tell it was a well-made, well-crafted cigar.
Right. Yeah.
And when we say Gurkhas, and we've talked multiple times, almost every time we smoke a Gurkha, and oftentimes when we don't smoke Gurkhas, we say Gurkhas are pretty hit or miss.
Yeah, they're not consistent.
Like, they're not consistent across the brand. But if you get a Gurkha Beast, and you like the Gurkha Beast, then all Gurkha Beasts will be good for you. But you're not then going to also like the Beauty. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Whereas if you get the Serie R Oliva, right?
No, that's a La Gloria Cubana.
Oh, La Gloria Cubana, Serie R versus the Serie N. Like, you're going to like both of them, and you might like one more than the other, but they're going to be good. They're both good.
Right. Yeah, I like the Series R better than the N, and I like the Spanish Press better than the N. But the N is a good cigar.
Well, yeah.
I would never say it's not.
Cigars, yeah. But I don't know that that's like, to use the modern lingo, Mike, because we're both old, now that we're older than 88, right? 1988.
Right. Yep.
I don't know that that's simping for La Gloria Cubano. They just make a good cigar.
They do.
And
so
you're gonna find one that you like better than the other, and whichever one that is, that's great.
Yep. It's like Rocky Patel, the Edge. I like Rocky Patel, the Edge cigars.
Yeah, even the Fuma Edge.
The Fumas. I mean, if you're gonna build, if you have a box at home and you want yard cigars, and you can get a good price on the Fumas, that's the way to go. Potentially, potentially it's one way to go at least.
Well, yeah.
You're not going to make a mistake by getting, if you like the Rocky Patel Edge Maduro, you can get the box of Fumas and you're going to be perfectly happy with that,
Oh, undoubtedly.
Especially at home, where you're out in the shop or something. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah. And even to share with friends that are interested in cigars. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know many. I don't know. Like, Mike, I'm starting to get to know more people that are friendish or friendly, I guess, now that we have this kind of cigar podcast. But I don't really have a lot of friends that smoke cigars outside of you. But I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't think giving somebody a Edge Fuma would turn anybody off, even if you're into cigars, because it's still basically an Edge. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just doesn't meet whatever criteria they have at the plant or the factory to get the full on label. But
the Fumas are short cuttings, I think.
Yeah. But if you don't know anything about cigars, you wouldn't even know. And it's almost like the wine tastings, the blind wine tastings and the box wines stereotypically do as good or better than some of the super expensive wines.
Right. Yeah, the fact that it's in a box turns people off, but
yeah, but it tastes just as good, if not better, than some of the other stuff. So, I just feel like if you like cigars and you want something good, like, there's nothing wrong with the Fumas. There's nothing wrong with some of these, and some companies even call them factory rejects, but there's nothing wrong with them. It's the same stuff. It's the same, it's almost imperceptible. Unless you're have a highly attuned palate. If you're the Gordon Ramsay of cigar smokers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which we most certainly are not.
No, we're not. And this is the longest we've ever talked about cigars on our podcast, I think. And we have a cigar podcast. Because usually we talk about other things. But I think
as you do when you smoke cigars in a public setting, right?
Well,
you're not talking about.
Well, that's the whole point.
Luxuriousness of whatever.
Yeah. And, these tobacco leaves are hand-picked by blind Tibetan monks. And therefore they taste better than other tobacco leaves picked by non-blind Tibetan monks or whatever it is, But I think that's the whole point is we're not trying to gatekeep cigars. We're smoking all of these cigars, if we're being honest, primarily for our pleasure, right? And then secondarily, for people who are interested in cigars but don't want to spend $1,000 per box of cigars to get like the super fancy shit.
Right. And like I say, if you go to a cigar shop, you spend $15, you're going to get a good cigar. But I don't necessarily want to go to the cigar shop and spend $15.
No. I mean, if you have a special occasion and you want to spend $15 on a cigar, by all means. But there are plenty of cigars that are sub $10 that are just as good, and in some cases better than the more expensive stick.
Oh, yes. And as a preview for next season, I ordered a bunch of cigars, and we're going to be smoking brick houses, and we're going to be smoking a lot of these. I think I got a couple, every factory smoke, if the brand Factory Smokes, I got every one of them. So we're going to be trying all these cigars that are specifically oriented as budget box filler type of cigars. Okay. And we'll see if we like them or if we think they're trash. You know, it is a roll of the dice, more so than what we're doing now.
Yeah, well, and we did season 1. I remember we did the Bin Maduro, and it was, and then we did that with tequila. But the plain Bin Maduro was very, very bland. But the tequila brought it to life.
Yep.
And we've talked about a lot of cigars that we smoked, and we're like, fuck, I'd rather smoke a tequila Bin Maduro than this one.
Yep. And I think I got some Blackbirds. You guys will see. Okay. But they're all going to be there's a theme for the season, you know.
Yes. We're going to revamp some stuff for season 3. I'm not going to go into a lot of things because then it puts a lot of pressure on me. But there's going to be some new things for season 3. I'm very excited about season 3. I mean, I've been excited about season 1, season 2. I've been learning with the editing of audio, which was always one of my weakest parts of filmmaking, was the audio bits. And you need the audio for film, for sure. I read somewhere that people will watch shitty quality video as long as the audio is good, but they won't watch pristine quality video if the audio is bad. So it's really been fun for me to kind of hone my audio skills. And if you're listening on shitty Bluetooth headphones, Keith, and not to name any names, don't tell me about that and your audio issues, because that's on the headphones. That's on the headphones. But
oh my!
Other than that, sorry, I had to get that off my chest. You know, it's New Year, New Year's Eve's coming up. New year, new me, new you, new nice ashes. But it'll largely be the same. Like, we're not drastically changing like the format or anything like that. But Mike's got the cigar themes going. I've got some other things I'm working on, so it will be a fun time.
Yep. Yeah. For next season, I think that every single cigar I got is less than $5. Maybe less than $6 for some of them. Other than the cigars, because we probably have 50 cigars in the bag right now that we could smoke. I don't know how many we have in the show box right now.
Yeah, we
probably have 20.
Box.
Yeah, and I got
some fancy ones. We're gonna have to do a lot more planning because we've got 2 really fantastic looking cigars that were released for St. Patty's Day.
Yes.
So we're going to try and work those in, right, Mike?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. They have great shelf appeal. Oof.
So good.
So I'm going to be very disappointed if they're not excellent.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I think this Rocky Patel, I'm over halfway done.
Oh, me
too.
This
is a great last cigar because it is lovely. I really like this a lot.
I like this one a lot. I knew, like, I remember when I said, like, oh, I like this one so much better than the last one. And you were like, well, okay, like, it's good. But I'm staying true with I like this one better than the last Rocky Patel we did.
I like the last Rocky Patel. I don't know if it's true or not. We could discuss it openly amongst, all of our listeners.
This is a safe place.
This is a safe place. I think that I'm more open to different styles of cigars than you are. You like that darker, punchier cigar almost exclusively. And I do like those cigars, but I'm a lot more open to try milder cigars and enjoy them. I appreciate them for what they are, you know?
I mean, I might have that, I guess, but I don't think I've ever said no to a cigar you wanted to smoke. Mostly because I don't know most of the cigars, but...
No, I'm not saying that you would say no. It's just that you have a defined favor or flavor profile.
Palate.
Yes, you have a palate. I'm not like, what is it? Like the snoods would say, oh, you have a limited palate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have defined things that you know you like.
Yeah.
Way more than others, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I liked, because I think that Christoph, Connecticut was one. I went to the big store here that's not a sponsor, down by me, and I said, hey, we're kind of getting into the Connecticut's, and the guy there was like, hey, you got to do this Christoph, Connecticut. And that was really good. I liked that one a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
We talked about liking it a lot, and I like trying the different things, and I like trying all the different stuff. And I guess I have like preferences, of course, as all of us do. But I do like trying all the different ones, and it's fun doing I like that the CAO kind of does, like the flavors, and they do the countries, and they do some other stuff. So it's fun, kind of getting to experience some of those different styles and wrappers and things. So
yep, no, I enjoy that, and I as I'm sure people have noticed, I like to get all of the wrappers in a series. And then we have at least a baseline to compare them against one another. It's all the same line of cigar. And I enjoy that. I also tend to enjoy Robusto sizes, largely because you can get Robustos for a reasonable price because they're so popular.
Yes. And it's been interesting to me, especially with the Moon Trance, where the Robusto Moon Trance, and we've talked about it before, we don't have to oversell it or sell it or anything. It's phenomenal. But the Torpedo is not. I mean, it's good. It's still good, but it's not as good as the Robusto. So it's interesting to me when we do some of these same cigars but different sizes.
Yeah.
And then to be able to compare and say, well, look, actually, this size is better than that size of this same cigar.
Right. It's like the edges. I liked the smaller Torpedo edges more than the larger edges, like the Presidente size.
Yeah.
The Presidentes were good, but it's overwhelming. A 2-hour cigar is too much for me.
Yeah, in most circumstances.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's just like, oh my God. It's just so much,
Well, and that's the thing is, 2 hours you could smoke one Presidente, or you could smoke 2 Robustos. You know what I mean? So. Right.
Exactly. You could switch it up, and it's just not so overpowering.
Yeah. It's kind of circumstantial.
Yeah. And sometimes you're into that, we haven't smoked it on the show, but the Excalibur, the large Excaliburs are wonderful.
Yes.
I've been trying to source another one because I have one in my humidor, and I can't find them online. I might have to go to a cigar shop and find one to match.
Yeah, you could also if you've got one, you can send whatever it is to me, and then I'll go look at the cigar shop here. Because then if I have one, you have one, we're good.
Right.
I know we didn't smoke this one on the show, and I hope that we will at some point. But I remember Mike and I smoked this. It was huge. It was fucking massive. It was too big for Mike's cigar cutter, the Asylum 13. And it was so good, but it was huge. And
we did smoke that on the show. I think that was our finale last year, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
I'm going to check. No, we had the Plasencia Alma Fuerte.
Yes.
Yeah, the Asylum 13.
The Asylum 13 on the show. But it was a great cigar. But it was huge and long, and it took a long time to smoke.
Yep.
But
but it was
you
wonderful.
Want the 2-hour plus cigar, and sometimes you don't. Most of the time you don't, but sometimes you do.
Yeah, and I, on the opposite end of that, I don't like Coronas. I do not like Corona size cigars.
Yeah.
I do like Rothschilds, which are like an inch shorter than a Robusto, but I do prefer the Robusto, just a little bit bigger. Yeah. Like I say, it's all, I don't know how many cigars I've smoked, but over time I've just gravitated. Yeah, at least 3. Yeah. I've just gravitated towards that size.
Yeah, I think the Robusto is a great size, all things considered.
Right. And we've had Gordos. I don't mind Gordos so much, depending.
Yeah.
They get a little too loosey-goosey at the end,
Yep.
In my opinion. These last 2 that we smoked are more of Gordo size. Smaller diameter than a Gordo, but they're longer than a Robusto. They're not quite a Churchill. And, it's long. I still have an 1.5 cigar left, and we've been smoking it for over an hour, So that's what I mean. It's like, I don't want to put it down, but it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my shitty attention span.
We've talked about it too. It's all kind of situational, which we try to bring up on the show is if you got an hour plus, the size is great. If you got less, the different size is better. So.
Right. And smoking a cigar should be about having just a little moment of relaxation and luxury and
hopefully
forgetting about your problems for just a little bit,
That's the
truth. We all lead busy adult lives. Apparently we're old now. according to old dads. But
yeah, I never thought I'd be in the same. Like, how old is Bill Burr?
He's 50-some.
Like, how am I now? How are we now suddenly lumped in with a 50-something-year-old man?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we're gonna fire everybody born before 88, and now I'm having to relate to a 50-year-old man. The fuck?
Yep. Well, that's part of this show, right? Like, he's trying to deal with these kids that are adults that are younger than us. And I have a difficult time dealing with the 24-year-olds. Yeah. And I'm not that much older than them, but I am.
In their mind, you are. But it's interesting because in your 20s, anybody older than you is like ancient, even if it's only by 5 years. But after you kind of hit 30, I think, well, I don't know, because I haven't hit 40 yet, but in your late 20s, early 30s, you're kind of like, well, anybody who's an adult older than, let's say, 25 is kind of in the same, like, realm, you know, like similar concerns and interests sometimes, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, we're just trying to grind, I guess.
Yeah.
And sometimes. It's always interesting. Now you're old enough to be judgmental.
Yeah.
Judgmental about the decisions that you also made.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this meme, Mike, and I'll say it here. It's our season 2 finale, whatever. Where somebody's saying, I identify as a female, and it's a man. Like, I identify as a female. Who are you to judge? Well, I identify as a judge.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of lame, but...
Yeah. For information for the show here, guys, the end of my cigar is coming loose, and I think I have to stop smoking it. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Mine's still good.
I cross-cut it, did the crown cut, and the end is, like, loosey-goosey. She's, like, disintegrating in my mouth.
I just did the 1 V-cut. I didn't do the cross-cut, so... That's the difference. I felt the gauge was warranting of 1 V-cut and not the cross-cut.
I considered it.
Yes.
So I think I might actually be done, unfortunately. That makes me disappointed because it's very good.
It's all good. It's a really good stick. The Sun Grown I like better than the vintage, what was it, 2003?
Let me check. We will check real quick. It was the vintage 2003 Cameroon.
Yep.
So I would recommend both, but I think the Sun Grown's better.
Yeah, Sun Grown's better slightly.
Yes.
Slight edge to the Sun Grown.
So everybody hope has a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And this is our finale for season 2, and we'll catch you in a couple months.
Be safe, have fun.
Thanks for listening.